welcome back to Artegan Weekly Bread, your spiritual board meeting. I am your Madam President of the Artegan, Natalie, spelled N-A-T-A-L. Wait for it. E-E. Feel free to stay for all of the psychic tarot and astrology reports. Feel free to skip ahead as you are guided. I hereby officially call this meeting to order. President's Report. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is going to be a pretty fantastic month ahead of December. Yes, that first week we had that Antisha forming with Mercury. So either the secret conversations, the secret planning, or more likely, or it's been the secret realizations of the machinations, becoming self-aware of things going on in our subconscious mind and in our psychological landscape, in our spiritual closet, and becoming more aware of those things helps us move through them and to work with that energy to move through. So I'm hoping that you guys are feeling a little bit more resolved, a little bit more empowered with confidence and with knowledge, having alchemized and transformed some of that crunchy energy. And let's dig into this week ahead. Astrology report. Okay, guys, so astrologically speaking, and just keep in mind that with astrology, the reason why I love astrology, I'm obsessed with astrology my entire life, not just because my mother was always into it, but that's part of it. But it's now that I am, an adult, I understand the value of understanding the energies. The planets are the energies that are operating. It's the what. The signs are the character, the flavor of the energies, the how. And then the houses, that's the where. That's the circumstances. Those are the situations. So especially as a psychic, and if you guys are little baby psychics out there, if you're very sensitive, you're sensitive to energies, then it will really benefit you to know the specifics of the astrology. So okay, that's a nice little intro for the astrology report. I like that. Okay, so this week is the week leading up to the total solar eclipse in Sagittarius. Now, there's eclipse seasons every 6 months. However, it's been about 18 months since we've had a total solar eclipse on this level. That's been this big of a deal. So it's a big deal. And so in the week leading up to it, we have the quarter moon in Virgo on Monday. So this is still, that means that the moon, the penumbral lunar eclipse of November 30th, it's reached its peak and it's losing in light. So it's getting smaller and smaller. And this quarter moon on Monday, it represents a crisis in consciousness. There's something that's breaking through or breaking down. There's a little bit of an internal pivot that needs to happen. So the sun is also hitting that south node in Sagittarius point. Antisha have been forming over the weekend between Mercury and Pluto. So it's really, I really feel like whatever this past week has been about for you mentally and psychologically, going into the weekend like right now and going into this week of the 7th, it's helping you transform those realizations into wisdom, but also I feel like it's just burning away everything that was inaccurate or anything that you don't need anymore. So if you were obsessive about a certain thing and just like, how's this going to work out? When's it going to work out? What about this? What about that? You've had to come up against accepting that you've got to surrender the outcomes and just focus on the what. Focus on, what you feel is your destiny, what you feel is meant for you, and let the universe sort of take care of the when and the how, and you do the best you can with what you have. So there's that Antisha that's sort of bringing this tension into the stabilization, into the psychological stabilization. I really feel like with this Mercury Pluto, it could also be very subterranean power struggles. We do have Venus in Scorpio, which she can definitely want to get what she wants very manipulatively. So if you're observing those feelings in yourself, just check it, just be aware of it so that you can, first of all, let me just congratulate all of you guys, because you guys are doing the really hard work that really every human being on the planet needs to do, not only for their own soul's growth, but so that we can all live together in somewhat harmony on planet Earth. So the fact that you guys are here doing this work, honestly, it just makes me so honored that I can be part of that adventure, part of that spiritual adventurous journey that I can be, the Gandalf or the Legolas or the Aragorn and you're the Frodo. And, if I can serve you guys in any way, shape, or form in doing this really hard work that like most people do not want to do, oh my God, I feel just privileged that I can help in like that way. So props to you for doing this work and for being able to have that self-awareness of observing, that shadow part in yourself where you do want to get something and sort of subterranean, emotionally manipulative way and saying, okay, that's definitely my shadow. I have to tamp it down. I have to figure this out. Why do I feel, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just feeling very optimistic and encouraged that, anyway, so this quarter moon is that last little crisis in consciousness. Then, and really from about the 6th on Sunday to about the 14th is when we're in this sun. Now, this is what the sun's doing. The sun's doing this week is revealing a lot and illuminating a lot. So that first week was like the lost week, I feel, with that Venus, Neptune. It's like, where is it going? What's going to happen? You didn't have all the information, and without having that information, it made you stressed out and tweak out a little bit. So that was the Antisha forming, where you had to see those parts of yourself that were really insecure about whatever it was in your life that you were tweaking out about. So this week, it's a little bit more illumination, and it leads up to that beautiful big total solar eclipse of the heart. No, not that one. Have you guys seen the literal version of that song? It's so funny. It's so funny. I'll if I remember, I'll link it in the description box. Oh, it's so funny. It's so cool. Anyway, sorry. Back to you. So this sun trining Mars is this whole week. And then this Mars in Aries has been retrograde for 6 months. Frustrated. You've been so. This is either like really frustrated in getting what you want. This is sexual frustration. This is reassessing your motivation or just taking an inventory and having to understand your own motivation again of why you want something. Any and all of that. Mars is just super ticked off because he just wants that instant gratification. He just wants what he wants, and he wants to have it when he wants it. So that frustration for these 6 months, the sun trining that Mars in Aries is such a nice release. It's fine. It's like you're finally getting somewhere. You're finally getting what you want. You're finally seeing how it's sort of gonna maybe play out. You're very encouraged. So the sun in Sag forming that trine to Mars in Aries, it's very, very uplifting, and it's so you can start to feel it as early as Sunday, but you'll be feeling it more and more as we lead up to the total solar eclipse on Monday the 14th. Also, what the sun is doing is squaring Neptune this week, and so Neptune is just featured so prominently in these eclipse energies. So I'm telling you, it's either very fearful and very getting lost in the unknowing and getting lost in the irrational fears, or you're feeling super dreamy and like optimistic, but in a very spiritual way. Like you're feeling inspired by fate, by your sense of fate and destiny. So just the more you cultivate that surrender and having faith and staying open-minded and staying open to the how these things can manifest, the more faith you'll have and the more you'll believe and the more you'll kind of ride that psychic wave of confidence, to be honest, like spiritual confidence. Because this Sun square Neptune, I really feel like it's sort of making all of us pivot that way anyway, and making us pivot into having that faith, into having that belief, into having that spiritual confidence that is going to lead to the optimism. Because this Sagittarius total solar eclipse is so optimistic. And Mercury is not even strong in Sagittarius. Like, he's in the opposite of his ruler. It means something. Let me just sort of like reorganize myself now. So that's also what the sun's doing. So the sun can make you a little bit, it's like you're getting what you want. You're going forward. I just want you to steer that Sun square Neptune, because it can also make you very, like, you'll just jump into something. But here's the thing, if you're divinely inspired, then you will, and it'll be a great thing. Okay, so just take that personal inventory. Always check in with yourself. Always, don't be afraid to just check. Don't be afraid to just see. Check your motivations, check your feelings, check in with your, ask yourself, is this what I really want? Why am I really doing this? Why am I really posting this on social media? Is it for my ego gratification? Is it to help someone else? Is it to do this? Is it to do that? Is it for this reason or that reason? Really check in with yourself into your own personal motivations. Or if you want to take a risk, check in with yourself. Am I taking this risk because I just want it to work and I just want it to be good and I just want it to work out? Or do I need to do more research? Do I need to gather more information? And that's the more reasonable, responsible thing that I really should be doing. Am I forcing myself to commit to something that I'm really not ready for? Am I all of that. Okay? Because if you do all of that and the answer is still, and it's like check, 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 then go all in. Go all in. Have fun. Because Venus is sextiling Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn in Capricorn Thursday the 10th. And so this is a good week. This is a pretty decent week, especially for romance, for creativity, for spirituality, for staying inspired, and for living that in your body. And that's where Mars comes in, and that's where the sun comes in. It's like your ego is going to be, it's like your ego has been taking a lot of hits lately, like the moon, the other side of the moon, like taking all those cratered hits. But now this week, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's something forming that's giving you that confidence, that's letting you feel like, okay, and go with that. Because like I said, Venus in Scorpio could be a little bit tweaking out about some stuff. But the fact that she's sextiling Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, and Capricorn, she's maturing, she's growing, she's transforming. So even your love nature, what feels good to you, is transforming. So likely a lot of us are shifting away from things that only felt good, but wasn't real, wasn't authentic. It's almost like, okay, here's a Plutonian, little digression into Scorpio territory here. Scorpio anything, Scorpio sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars. Venus is now in Scorpio. Good at manipulation, good at finding out things in other people and not revealing much of themselves. Successful at manipulation, however, is not really happy there. It's like the con artist that knows it's only a matter of time before the mark figures it out. So the Scorpio that manipulates to get what they want are never going to relax. They're never going to be happy because they know, or they're fearful, they're paranoid that it's only a matter of time before the person either figures something out or understands something that they don't want them to understand. Or it's like within they have to keep on manipulating the situation in order to contain and in order to maintain. So it's part of the Scorpio path to see the world, figure it out. And instead of deciding I'm going to be manipulative and I know that the world is horrible, so I'm going to manipulate things and I'm going to manipulate people and I'm going to force the world to give to me what I want it to give to me and all that stuff, that's very jaded and pessimistic. To evolve into the higher evolved Scorpio, which is the eagle, and transform the world through transforming the inner life of that Scorpio. And to live your scorpionic life full of integrity, that, okay, the world may be a wicked place, but it doesn't make me jaded and it doesn't make me believe that everyone's going to hurt me and everyone's going to do this and everyone's going to do that. I'm going to transform my own energies and create a life of integrity and have really amazing boundaries and only allow in what matches those boundaries, what matches my integrity. And thereby, everyone that comes into contact with that Scorpio gets transformed either way. Now, they're going to get transformed either way, but it just saves everyone a lot of time, and it's a lot of evolution, a lot of evolutionary growth. So this Venus in Scorpio, that's really the vibe that I'm getting as she connects with Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, and Capricorn. I feel like she's in Mars's rulership. Like Aries is ruled, okay, Scorpio's ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars is in Aries. She's not in her home. She's in this Martian domain, and Mars is in his height in Aries, but he's super ticked off because he's been so transformed as well. So they're both being really transformed. So she's leaning into this a little bit better. She's growing and she's evolving. And so is your personal nature of what pleases you, what makes you happy, what feels good to you. So let yourself lean into that, because this is very stabilizing, especially this Venus to Saturn. Gosh, Jupiter and Saturn are like in this energetic degree of Capricorn. It's at the very end of a very long journey in Capricorn. And so like everyone's learning, everything is about to shift over. And so it's really exciting. It's a really cool week. A really great week for all of this growth. And like I said, it's being kicked off by that quarter moon on Monday the 7th. So that, now when I say crisis, a crisis is just when we are not at the level of maturity needed to handle that situation. That's why we feel it as a tower moment, like in the tarot, or like a crisis. And because what happens when a crisis happens? What happens when you go through a crisis? You figure it out. Time moves you along, and step by step, stumble by stumble, you figure it out, and you come through, you come out the other end, and it changes you forever. But what it's done is made you evolve to that maturity level to handle that crisis. Even though it happened before you were at that level, it expedited things. It made you do it instead of like just... So when we're children and we grow into adulthood, that's all the physical growth that takes place. When we're adults to when we transition, that's the spiritual growth that takes place. So all the growth happens from the inside out instead of from the outside that's visible. It becomes invisible. It becomes that spiritual growth from the inside. So that's all I mean when I say crisis. This quarter moon on Monday is a little crisis in consciousness. It's just a huge shift, a huge pivot. But I feel like it's going to be a positive one. I feel like it's going to help you let go. Because this lunar eclipse of the 30th, November 30th, was all about letting it go. Letting go. Ending so that new beginnings can take place. Why? Because every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Okay, so that's basically that. Now, from the middle of the week, from about Wednesday, we also have Mercury squaring Neptune. Like I said, so Neptune is super highly configured in all of this. So you can either get super like paranoid, irrational fears, doubts, feeling like you're just floating in this cosmos and without any kind of anchor, and like you're not sure, and like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you can soften boundaries in a bad way and leave yourself open to exploitation and vulnerability, or you can derive your anchor, your spiritual anchor and spirituality, and you can cultivate that spiritual confidence and just have faith and belief in your life. That if you're doing this shadow work, that whenever you activate energy, you activate karma. And if you trust in that, that's like when you're fuming and you're stewing and you're thinking about a fight that you had or an argument that you were in, and then you go and stub your toe or fall down the stairs. That's like that karma, that those thought forms are real and they're spiraling out from you. We all have our own little electromagnetic field. I'm not going to get all sciencey. Okay. That's basically it. So that Mercury square Neptune from the middle to the end of the week is just adding to this either very inspired belief, beautiful energy, where you're feeling more and more optimistic and you're having that faith. And it's very, very karmic. Like sun connecting to the south node, this is all very, very karmic. We're all cleaning our slates. We're all paying on the past karma. We're creating new karma as we go along. That's why I want to pump you guys up to be positive and have optimism and have some spiritual confidence, because you're creating new karma as you're deleting old karma. Remember, growth happens in layers and in cycles. So you're in a fifth layer of the seventh cycle of learning something, and it's like you're creating karma as you go along. Remember, time is simultaneous. It's not linear. It happens. Okay. So that's it. And then basically the 14th is the total solar eclipse, and I will be there to do that video. So let's move on into the psychic report, you guys. So When I used to work at Apple, I was explaining disk utility to someone, and I was explaining repair disk. And the analogy, a little story, I love talking helping people learn things in stories. It's like, boom, they get it right away. I explained it like you have a big house, big mansion or something, and you leave your bedroom and you go down to the kitchen, and you're going throughout the house and you're leaving doors open as you go. That's what the computer is kind of doing when you're doing different things. And so repair, disk utility, all that stuff, it's like it cleans out, closes all the doors, makes everything really crisp and prim and proper, right? Well, I had this download this week where I was just sitting there. I think I was reading, I was doing something and, thinking other thoughts. And then all of a sudden I had this vision of all these doors blasting open, like, and all of this, like, it wasn't smoke. It was it was just like showing the motion of like all these doors just, and that's what it was. It was like all the different doors in my mind, all the different doors in my brain, and my little baby brain just, it was weird. And it was right that it was like the disk utility analogy. That's what it was. And so there's something, I feel like it's probably the eclipse. It's probably eclipsey energy, but let's see what it means. Let's see if it even shows up in today's tarot. Sometimes my downloads are really early and we channel different stuff different. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started into the tarot report. Oh, I already knocked. That's right. Okay. I just get really excited. So yeah, you're going to want to steer these energies this week, cultivating faith. Cultivating faith. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this party started, shall we? What is the first energy for the doors? Ooh. Oh, it's magic. Do. Okay, that's a pretty amazing way to start off. You're going to get communication. You may have already gotten it. You may have already had some sort of, I'm feeling like a mental connection, and it's something that just goes from zero to hero. It's something that just comes out of nowhere. There's a twist in events. There's some surprise. It's a surprise to you, not to the universe, of course. And you're feeling pretty amazing. You're feeling mental relief. You're feeling like, that's what I'm feeling here. You're like, oh, thank goodness gracious. Thank goodness. Ooh, that'll be fun to clarify. That'll be really fun to clarify. You're already a winner. I mean, whatever this is, you're feeling like you, oh my God. Oh my God, you got all the good cards, man. All the good ones. The Lovers, the Emperor, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Six of Wands. What can I say? What can I say? We're going to stop right here. We're going to stop right here. And now you have the counterpart to the Emperor, the Empress. And the Hierophant underneath. Okay. Wow. So, give me a second here. Give me a second. Lovers, Emperor. I just got so excited here. Let me just tune in psychically to this a little bit. For those of you that are baby psychics out there, for me personally, when I get really excited, the energy, it like almost short circuits a little bit, and I have to really calm myself back down to tune back in. Like whenever I'm doing energy work and I get way too excited about what I'm doing, like the progress that I'm making, it's like it just... So keep that in mind when you're doing your energy practices as well, because that excitement, it's like very frenetic, it's very uncontrollable. And the whole point of being psychic and using psychic ability, the only way you even really is self-control and self-awareness and understanding your energies and energy meridians. So give me a second here. Okay, so the situation is turned, and this is very eclipsey energy. There's something that could turn, and you can see it coming, or the energy is still in the 5D. It's in conversation, it's in ideas, it's in planning, and it's working out how it's going to manifest in the physical. Let's take a look at this Wheel of Fortune, because there's an idea that needs to be had still. There's a conversation that needs to be had still. There's something verbal that needs to happen first, and that's where the turn is this week, it looks like. And it's going to lead, it's going to have its own life after that, to be honest. Tell me about the Wheel of Fortune, please. Thank you. Oh my God. You're going to love this, you guys. We have the Ten of Swords and the Tower in reverse. That's exactly how they fell out. The Ten of Swords and the Tower. You were really stressed out about this. This is the thing that you've been tweaking out about. This could be what Venus has been so scorpionically obsessive about. And it's like crisis averted. It's actually like a save. Something you thought was, this is like the end of a lot of mental torture, a lot of mental crunching about it. It just, like, immediately you get an email, you get the text, the phone call, it's communicated to you, it's conveyed to you that you don't have to worry about something anymore. Let's take a look at this Ace of Swords. This, I feel like, is the quality of the communication. Thank you. The Eight of Chalices. You're able to move on. It's like you get a green light that you get to move towards what your heart really wants and what you really love. There's a victory there. There's a major advancement forward. And this is the waning, you know, the moon is losing in light before the total solar eclipse happens. So this is wrapping up the stress about it. This is wrapping up the stress of closing out those other doors, closing out those issues. You know, Mercury's, that first week was really tweaking. So this is that week that, boom, it happens. Okay. So that's interesting. So we're getting that you've just been really stressed out about this. So whatever that is, it's probably that. Let's take a look at this Lovers. This is the decision. This is a choice in love. Now, what I love to talk about this is that you see the man. He is looking at this woman, and she is looking up at the Raphael icon here. This is the conscious needing to go through the subconscious in order to manifest and experience the superconscious. There's this beautiful, like, trinity here, this triangular cohesion where it all makes sense. The building blocks of evolution, the building blocks of this spiritual confidence. Okay, let's take a look at the Lovers. Get so geeked. I'm such a geek. I love to geek out about this. I love that we can geek out about this together. Okay, I didn't mean to do that, obviously. I just meant to get the one card, which is the Queen of Swords. But let me just take a look. And the King of Wands. The King of Wands and the Queen of Swords. There's a lot of people here now. Now we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, King of Wands, Emperor, and Empress. The King of Wands and the Queen of Swords. Okay, I want to say something about gender, first of all. Whenever I say like he, she, especially when I talk about astrology, when I talk about the planets, when I talk about the signs, I want to really, really stress what Madame President Natalie, spelled Natalee, means when I reference gender. All of the planets are androgynous, and all of us are supposed to be androgynous in the realm of polarity. We are meant to integrate the masculine and the feminine for total completion. That's what I mean by like androgyny, is that we're both. I'm going to do a whole separate video on this, but you're guys going to get a little itty bitty tidbit of this. Let me repeat, all of the planets are androgynous. When they are in a sign, they are expressing that quality, that side of themselves. But there's no, I almost want to say there is no such thing as gender, because it's just an expression of energy. And over time, the symbolism, the esoterica, became really muddled and misunderstood, and people began assigning qualities to the masculine and the feminine, and that's just not correct. It's just not right. I'll do a separate video and talk more about that, but just know that when you see in the tarot like a King of Wands or a Queen of Swords, that doesn't necessarily have to mean biologically male, biologically female, man, woman. We're talking about the pure energy of this, of the cards, or when I talk about astrology, the pure energy of those. So like for just one example, Capricorn, it's the 10th house, it's the top of the chart, it's the highest point of all of our charts of the natural zodiac. And people will say Saturn is masculine, the masculine planet, but Saturn is masculine when he's in Aquarius. Saturn is feminine when he's in Capricorn. Okay, I will do a separate video on that. So, okay. Anyway, this King of Wands and Queen of Swords, this can represent the inner masculine and the inner feminine of one person, that this is being reconciled within with this Lover's energy. It can also mean that there are two individuals channeling these different energies, channeling a very strong masculine, a very strong feminine, which is really funny because the King of Wands is very... Okay, one more thing about the gender. So masculine energy, we all have. Feminine energy, we all have. When people assign them to like body parts, like that's messed up. That like try to throw that out of your mind. Just let it go. Because what it really means, what masculine energy really is the intellectual energy. It's idealizing, intellectualizing, philosophizing, coming up with ideas and thinking. It's the logos aspect. Only when it comes down into the feminine energy does it get brought into manifestation on the physical plane. It's that feminine energy that births what the mind, what the mental energy has created. But you need both. We have to reconcile both. Okay. So, this Queen of Swords, like take Libra for example. Libra is an air sign. It's a masculine dominant sign. This Queen of Swords could be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy. Okay, let's move on, and then I'll put it all together. Let's take a look at this Emperor. So what I feel like this is, let me just finish this up real quick. What I feel like this is someone making a choice in love. And it doesn't have to be necessarily romantic. It could be platonic. It could be familial. It could be familial. It could be, but I feel like they are now very confident after having come through a period of terrible insecurity and terrible mental stress. This person is very confident now of taking action on what their mind has decided, but they were missing information, but now they or you do now have that information. So the choice is made. Let's take a look at the Emperor. Thank you. The King of Swords, another court card. Oh boy. I mean, take a look at this Queen of Pentacles. We're going to do all of this. The Two of Chalices. This is a very, very much relationship energy here. Like a lot of tension about a relationship or a connection, I want to say. And the Six of Wands. Like that's all I'm seeing. I'm seeing so many, thank you, the Moon. Moon energy. Wow, this is faith. This is faith right here. A lot of faith. Yeah, you were just missing one piece. There was like one piece of the puzzle that was just like, oh, where is it? And now you got it. Let's take a look at the Empress. This is the counterpart to the to the Emperor. Thank you. We have the Two of Wands, the King of Chalices, and the Knight of Wands. God, is that funny? So many people here. The Knight of Wands, the King of Chalices, and the Two of Wands. There's a lot of people around you too. This could be something happening in the family, whether it happening in an existing family, merging two families, or beginning a family, or organizing the separation of a family, the breaking apart of a family. Absolutely. There's just like a lot of people here. There's literally one, two, there's just a lot. The King of Cups is here. Let's focus on this Emperor and Empress. The Emperor has one card to clarify him, this King of Swords. It's him. Yeah. And this Empress, she's more of a vibe. She's giving off a major vibe here about what she wants. Because the Empress doesn't go out and get what she wants. She just gives off a vibe and then she just attracts it to her. This Emperor had to come into mental clarity about something. And it could even be the Emperor that's making this decision. And inside, because the Emperor within himself holds all four of the kings. The Empress holds all four of the queens within her. But they both have the masculine and the feminine. For instance, this Emperor has the feminine icon in his masculine hand and the masculine icon in his feminine hand. This is someone who has gained and lost 5 fortunes, started businesses, lost businesses, went to wars, gained land, lost land, had children, buried children. Like, he's just been through everything. This is like a titan of an entire industry, whereas the kings are maybe people that have their own companies or have their own little area, little spot of land somewhere. This Emperor is a very like powerful figure. Or this is just someone that is very, very like, I know what I want. And I'm very like about it. So this person's come into clarity about that, and they're not going to stop till they get what they want. And this Empress is more like the vibe. She's giving off that vibe. Now you have this Queen of Pentacles here with the Two of Chalices, who's this is like best friend energy. Doesn't have to be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, although it can be. Honestly, you guys, with so many people here, all you need to know is that you're going to have the answers. You're going to have the answers, and you're going to know like where everyone kind of fits in your life and how everything's going to be organized and how you're going to be able to move forward. You're just missing like that one intel, and you're going to get it. That Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Swords is going to, and then you're going to kind of ride off into the sunset. This moon tells me that you're going to feel and be very victorious in following that heart and following your feeling and following basically your soul. I feel like you're not going to feel like you're moving forward like in the dark. You're going to feel like you're following your fate and your destiny here. Let's just see. Okay, so remember the bottom of the deck was the Hierophant. So there could even be some commitment on the table or some sort of promise being made here. So it's good news. All in all, it's good news. Let's go ahead and get your oracle. And let's get your Moonology. It's time to release negativity, full moon in Scorpio. Emotions are running high, supermoon energy, and show the world the real you, full moon in Aquarius energy. God, there's a lot of people involved here. I can't get over that. Okay, so there's a lot of there can potentially be a lot of people either watching you or involved in the situation somehow. And all I'm going to say is whatever, like, keep this between you and whomever this is involved with, because you want the information to be pure. You don't want anything else to add to any kind of potential mental stress for you, is all I'm going to say with that. Okay? And because this is obviously something having to do with your heart chakra or love, let's go ahead and get your love oracle. Wow. She just gave that download to me again with the doors. So this information, something is going to be really encouraging. Something's going to be very much like the doors just get blown open, and it's in a connection with someone. Thank you. It is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. There could be a little bit of fear of judgment here. It's time to release negativity. This show the world the real you, full moon in Aquarius energy. It can even be that because there's so many eyeballs and so many people watching, that you or this other person, someone may be feeling a little bit insecure about that, about how something looks. And I'm just going to say, don't worry about what something looks like. Follow your heart. Follow what your soul is telling you. Follow what you feel like your destiny is. That's something no one can tell you. You can't go and get, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you're going to feel this. Okay, there's one way you can figure it out in astrology. It's from the North Node. And so if you want to look for your destiny, look for the North Node in your natal chart. But with this, there's something here where you've just got to follow your own path. Take the road less traveled, because there may be something a little bit like, ooh, and there is engagement at the bottom of the deck. Your love frequency is ascending to a higher level of commitment. It doesn't have to be engagement, but it's a higher level of commitment. That could be what this in the beginning is, this turn of information. I'm just going to say, I know emotions are running high. Thank you. For some of you, this emperor and empress are parents, someone's parents, or some higher authorities, or some like bosses in a company that are kind of like watching over you. Do you? That's all I'm going to say with that. I do me, and I never look back, and I am so freaking happy. And everyone that's in my life right now, I love them to pieces, and there's no conflict in my life. There's not one single person that I'm like in conflict with, and it's beautiful and it's glorious. I have my beautiful boundaries, and like boundaries are a gift I give to myself, and I keep all of the people that are not pro NATALEE away, and it's like peace and love and truth and integrity 24/7. And doing that frees up so much time that I put into my channel, into my Patreon, into just my energies, maintaining my energies, and just being my little psychic self, and helping you guys and helping the world, and doing that and all of that. Whereas if I kept those people around in my life, I would just be wasting so much time in conflict with them, and I wouldn't have time for all this stuff. So no brainer for me. But you guys know my whole thing. You know, I was super not wanting to tell anyone that I was psychic, and this whole thing was a big accident being on YouTube. So I'm like really happy that it all worked out, you know. So just trust in that. I didn't have any idea where any YouTube stuff was going to go, and I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that I followed, you know. So just heed that and follow that. Okay, guys? I love you guys forever and ever and always. Take really, really good care. Have a great week ahead of you. I'm over on Patreon if you like weekly readings. The monthlies I would check out for December. They're really long for every single sign. They're really, really good. Check it out if you are guided to. If you are guided to. It's kind of like this whole thing, the channel and the Patreon. It's kind of like this psychic experiment for me. It's to just, you know, only if you're guided, only if you're feeling it. And remember, you can hop on, hop off, toggle up, toggle down. It's just sort of like a really cool experiment for me, like as a psychic. So it's always there. I'm always here for you whenever you need me. So don't worry, I'm not going to go anywhere or anything. So I love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Until then, my loves, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Mwah!